Want to know why some lawns look incredible even when the grass isn't perfect? The secret is crisp edges. I'm Nick Federoff, first radio and TV personality inducted into the Green Industry Hall of Fame. I just drove across America and discovered what separates amateur yards from professional landscapes. Today, I'm revealing the tool that creates definition that makes even average grass look magazine-worthy. Like and subscribe now. One of the things that I noticed when I was on my road trip was that there were a lot of landscapes that really were taken care of super well, whether it was just a front yards, even in the bad parts of town. I mean, I traveled to some areas that you could tell that the housing that was all dilapidated and the cars and such. But even with many of the houses like that were that way, their lawns looked really good. I was so impressed. I was telling MrsThingsGreen.com all about it and how impressed I was that they have such a passion for making sure that their houses are looking, at least their lawns are looking half decent. And I also went to places, for instance, in Ohio that, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 10-acre properties. I don't think in Ohio I saw one place that did not have a beautiful lawn, and especially big lawns. And you know what? They like doing stripes on their lawns. Oh, that was really kind of cool. Now, what makes a lawn look really good and what makes a flower bed look really good is the definition between the two. When you edge your beds, it means so much. In fact, you could actually have a long lawn, but if your edges are nice and clean, it looks okay. It looks better, it doesn't look great, but it looks okay. And there's a lot of different ways of making sure that you have and you create those crisp, clean lines between your lawn and your garden beds, whether those garden beds are flowers or whether they are actual vegetables. Or maybe it could be just plants, it could be ground cover, whatever the case may be. Having really crisp lines and definition is super, super easy. Now, the old school way of doing it is, and let me tell you, if you have a very small piece of property, then use a half moon edger. Classic tool. You ever see one of those things? It looks like a half moon and it has like a shovel. You know how a shovel has a little lip on it? These have little lips on there, and then there's a big old handle. And what you do is that you press, and not walk with it. You put it where you want to do the edging. You press down on it. It cuts a line, and then you go and you do the next one, next one, next one, next one, and you wiggle it back and forth, and it creates this really neat edging in between. Now, speaking of which, you can get yourself an edger. Now, edgers are actually harder to find, and I only know of a couple of people who are making them. I think True Cut still makes an edger. Don't hold me to that. I do know that McLean still makes an edger. I actually just saw one recently, so I know that they're making them. I was at a trade show and they're making those things. And you could use the edgers to do that. Normally you would take it and probably put it at an angle so that you can cut it. The other way of doing it is by using, of course, a weed whacker. And what's really cool about weed whackers is that they now have different types of attachments that go on these. If you're not very good with the weed whacker itself and you put it on the edge and it grabs onto the grass and you end up taking that thing and wiping out a bunch of plants or your lawn, well, that's one thing. You got to learn how to use that thing. But what you can do is they have attachments that are specifically designed for this. Sometimes it's just as simple as using a rototiller attachment, and they're really cute. They have like 6-inch blades on there for the rototiller attachment, and you go along. Now, there is a company, again, I don't remember their name. I was surprised I remember the other two, and There's a company that makes a very specific tool that is made for edges. And basically what it does is kind of like what that edger does with the rototiller on the end of an edger. This kind of looks like an edger, but the blade on it is real thick. It's like 3 or 4 inches, and then you can just slice and dice. There's also another company, and you're going to have to do the homework on this one, or send me a text or an email, where you take and it makes a straight edge up and down, and then on the side, it kind of has like a tiller on there to where it pushes the soil over while it's cutting the turf at the same time. Now, of course, you cannot ever go wrong with putting in what they call mow strips. Now, mow strips can be something as simple as putting in bricks. Usually, a lot of people will put those scalloped bricks, or they'll put the red bricks and they'll put them end to end, or they'll make them look scalloped. That right there creates an edge between the two. And then you have something that's a little bit more solid. But a mow strip is really kind of cool because it's a forever type of thing, where there's a machine, and what they do is that they'll cut out where the contour of the beds are going to be and the grass is going to be. And what it does is that they put concrete into a hopper, into a big holding tank on this thing, and it shimmies, it rotates, and it gets all the bubbles out of it, and then it lays down some concrete in a different type of shape. It could be square, it could be rectangular, it could have a little indentation on it. And what happens is that when you use this thing as you are mowing your lawn, you actually put the wheels of your lawnmower on the mow strip. That's why they call it a mow strip. You put it on the mow strip, and that right there will get your lawn nice and cut. It gets it to the height. And I don't want to say you'll never have to use a weed whacker or an edge or anything like that, but many times you don't have to if you're taking and maintaining your property on a regular basis, because we all know that you have to mow your lawn once a week. That's hands down the best way to do that. As the weather gets colder, you don't have to do it that often. Okay, you can go every other week, sometimes once a month, depending on the type of grass it is. But you're going to be maintaining those edges, especially during the growing season, on a weekly basis. And the best part about all this is that when you are cognizant of the work that has to be done, we understand that edging prevents grass invasion and creates a visual, polished finish. Even if your lawn is a little bit longer, you have the great definition between the two. And that right there is what really creates a neat looking landscape, like the ones that I saw when I was driving the fruited plain. And I took 3-4 weeks, I forget how long I was gone. And I'm driving down and I'm thinking to myself, how beautiful are these lawns, or what? Because they were just uber awesome to look at, and all the edges were great. And did you know that on big ride-on lawnmowers, they actually have attachments for those things for the edges?